Hi everyone, welcome to English Story School, where we bring the power of storytelling to help you master the English language. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to catch a break? That the path to success is littered with one failure after another, leaving you wondering if you'll ever achieve your wildest dreams. If so, you're not alone. In fact, you're in the very best of company. Even the most celebrated, accomplished individuals in the world have faced monumental setbacks and agonizing failures on their journeys to the top. Think about Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential media moguls of our time. Early in her career, she was demoted from her job as a news anchor because her boss told her she was unfit for television. Can you imagine how crushing that must have felt? To be told in no uncertain terms that you just don't have what it takes, that your dreams of success are nothing more than a fantasy. Yet Oprah didn't let that devastating failure derail her. Instead, she chose to view it as an opportunity to grow, to hone her skills, and to prove her boss wrong. She went back to the drawing board, determined to become the very best version of herself. Oprah sought out mentors, took classes, and tirelessly worked on refining her on-air presence and interviewing techniques. And when the next big opportunity came her way, hosting a struggling local talk show in Chicago, she dove in headfirst, pouring her heart and soul into making it a success. The rest, as they say, is history. Oprah's show quickly became a nationwide sensation, catapulting her to superstardom and making her one of the most influential figures in media. But it was her ability to learn from that initial failure, to use it as motivation to become better, that laid the foundation for her incredible success. Oprah Winfrey's journey from hardship to success is often highlighted as one of the most inspiring tales of resilience and perseverance. But she's just one shining star in a constellation of people who've turned life's most challenging setbacks into the very fuel for their eventual success. Another powerful story that speaks to this idea is that of J.K. Rowling, the creator of the world-famous Harry Potter series. Rowling's journey to becoming one of the most beloved authors in the world was anything but smooth. Imagine a young woman who dreamed of telling stories, but who found herself as a single mother, living on welfare with barely enough money to make ends meet. Every day was a battle to keep food on the table, care for her child, and still find the mental and emotional space to pursue her passion for writing. The manuscript for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which would eventually become a global phenomenon, took years to complete. She poured her heart and soul into this story, an enchanting world of wizards, magical spells, and unforgettable characters, each detail carefully crafted in the hopes that it would someday captivate readers. But even after finishing her book, Rowling's struggles were far from over. She now faced the monumental task of finding a publisher willing to take a chance on an unknown author with an unusual story about a young boy wizard. Rowling submitted her manuscript to publisher after publisher, hoping that someone would see its potential. Yet each time, she received a rejection. Some publishers felt that the story was too complex for young readers. Others believed it wouldn't have a market. They failed to see what millions of readers across the world would one day cherish as a masterpiece. Can you imagine receiving one rejection after another, each one a reminder that the dream you hold dear might not ever come to fruition? For many people, these repeated setbacks would have been enough to stop them in their tracks. How easy it would have been for Rowling, already dealing with personal struggles, to say, maybe they're right, maybe this isn't meant to be. Yet somehow, she held on to her vision. She refused to let these setbacks extinguish the passion that kept her going. Finally, after countless rejections, a small publishing house called Bloomsbury agreed to take a chance on her manuscript, and that decision changed everything. Once Harry Potter hit the shelves, it was as if the world had been waiting for this story all along. Readers couldn't get enough of it. The book series exploded in popularity, leading to an international fan base, blockbuster films, and an entire universe of fans who would grow up with her characters, finding inspiration and comfort in the magical world she had created. J.K. Rowling's story reminds us of the extraordinary power of perseverance, especially in the face of rejection. Had she given up, the world might never have known Harry Potter, and millions of readers would have missed out on a story that brought them joy, courage, and a sense of wonder. Her journey is a testament to the fact that sometimes the very things that seem like obstacles, failures, rejections, and hardships, are the stepping stones to success. It's a story that proves that failure isn't a dead end, but rather the beginning of something incredible, waiting for those who have the courage to press on, even when the world says no. In a world where giving up can seem like the easiest path, J.K. Rowling stands as a powerful reminder that resilience and belief in oneself can be transformative forces. Despite facing relentless rejections, Rowling refused to let her failures define her or silence the magic within her story. Instead, she harnessed her setbacks as fuel, becoming even more determined to find someone who could see the spark in her work, who would take a chance on her vision of a young boy named Harry Potter and a world filled with magic, friendship, and bravery. Rowling had poured her heart and soul into her manuscript, often writing in cafes, trying to stay warm, with her young daughter beside her. With every page, she held on to the belief that her story had the power to connect with others, to inspire and transport readers into a realm that felt at once thrilling and comforting. But as her manuscript faced rejection after rejection, that dream was tested. It would have been easy to stop after the first few publishers turned her down, to accept their decisions as the final say on her work. Many people in her situation would have put the manuscript back on a shelf, tucked the dream away, and moved on. But Rowling wasn't ready to let go. She chose to keep fighting, to keep sending her story out into the world, no matter how many doors closed in her face. Each rejection letter brought with it a fresh wave of doubt and disappointment. Publishers labeled her story as too complex or too strange for young readers. They doubted its appeal, and they questioned whether audiences would understand or embrace a story about a magical school and a boy wizard. Imagine the frustration, the lingering question of whether they were right, whether she was chasing an impossible dream. Yet Rowling clung to her vision, believing that somewhere out there was a publisher who would recognize the magic she had worked so hard to create. And finally, after what must have felt like an eternity of no after no, Bloomsbury, a relatively small and modest publishing house, decided to take a chance on her manuscript. It was a decision that would change not only Rowling's life, but the landscape of modern literature and young adult fiction. With that one yes, Rowling's dream began to unfold in ways that surpassed her wildest imaginings. The world didn't just like Harry Potter, it embraced him wholeheartedly. Readers of all ages lined up for new releases, donned wizarding robes, and debated the story's mysteries and morals as if they were real. The success of the Harry Potter series was monumental. What began as an idea in Rowling's mind grew into a global phenomenon, captivating the hearts and imaginations of millions around the world. It went on to inspire movies, theme parks, merchandise, and a legacy of storytelling that would influence countless aspiring writers and readers alike. Rowling, once a struggling single mother, became one of the most celebrated authors of our time, proof that dreams, no matter how daunting, can become reality with persistence and a refusal to give up. Rowling's story didn't just end with a best-selling book series. It reshaped how people view resilience and creativity. It became a testament to the power of perseverance and the unbreakable bond between an artist and her vision. Her journey from rejection to success is more than a fairy tale. It's a beacon for anyone who has faced setbacks, inspiring them to keep going, to keep pushing, until they too find that one yes that changes everything. Her journey illustrates that, in the face of adversity, true passion and belief can turn failures into stepping stones for unimaginable triumphs. The magic in Rowling's story isn't just in the world she created, but in the way she persevered against all odds, ultimately transforming her setbacks into the fuel that ignited one of the greatest success stories in modern history. And as they say, the rest is history. What's remarkable about Rowling's story is not just the sheer scale of her eventual success, but the way she used failure as a catalyst for her triumph. Each rejection, each moment of self-doubt, only fueled her determination to prove the naysayers wrong. She channeled her frustration and disappointment into honing her craft, refining her storytelling, and staying true to her vision. And in the end, that unwavering commitment paid off in the most spectacular way. Of course, Oprah and Rowling are just two examples of the countless individuals who've turned their failures into fuel for their success. From Thomas Edison's thousands of failed experiments before inventing the light bulb, to Michael Jordan being cut from his high school basketball team, the stories of those who've conquered adversity and emerged stronger are endless. But the common thread that runs through all of these tales is the ability to reframe failure, to see it not as the end of the road, but as a necessary step on the journey to greatness. It's about cultivating a growth mindset, one that embraces challenges, learns from mistakes, and uses setbacks as opportunities to level up. So how exactly do you go about doing that? How can you transform your own failures into the building blocks of your future triumph? The first step is to let go of the notion that failure is something to be feared or avoided at all costs. Instead, start to view it as an essential part of the learning process, a chance to gather valuable insights, refine your strategies, and become a better version of yourself. When you experience a setback, resist the urge to beat yourself up or wallow in self-pity. Instead, take a step back and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What adjustments do I need to make going forward? How can I use this experience to become stronger and more resilient? Adopting this kind of growth mindset is crucial because it allows you to extract the lessons and insights hidden within your failures. Rather than seeing them as dead ends, you start to recognize them as forks in the road, opportunities to explore new paths, discover new strengths, and ultimately reach even greater heights. One powerful technique for doing this is the fail-forward method, pioneered by renowned leadership expert John C. Maxwell. The basic premise is simple. Whenever you experience a setback, rather than dwelling on the failure itself, focus on what you can do to move forward in a positive, productive way. This might involve reflecting on what went wrong, identifying the key factors that contributed to the failure, and brainstorming concrete steps you can take to address those issues. It could also mean reaching out to mentors or peers for advice, or even completely rethinking your approach to the problem at hand. The key is to approach failure with a spirit of curiosity and experimentation, rather than one of shame or defeat. Treat each setback as a chance to gather valuable data, refine your strategy, and ultimately get one step closer to your goals. Another essential element of turning failure into fuel is learning how to channel the emotional energy that comes with it. Because let's face it, failure hurts. The feelings of disappointment, frustration, and self-doubt that often accompany it can be overwhelming, and it's natural to want to avoid or suppress them. But here's the thing. Those emotions can actually be your greatest asset if you learn how to harness them. By acknowledging and processing your feelings in a healthy way, you can transform the negative energy of failure into a powerful source of motivation and determination. For example, when you experience a setback, take some time to really sit with the emotions it evokes. Don't try to push them away or minimize them. Instead, allow yourself to fully feel the disappointment, the frustration, even the anger. Then, once you've given those feelings their due, reframe them as fuel for your next move. Imagine the fire that burns within you when you remember the sting of that rejection, the heartbreak of that failed project, or the embarrassment of that public mistake. Channel that intensity, that raw, primal drive to prove the doubters wrong, and let it propel you forward. Use it to fuel your determination, sharpen your focus, and ignite your passion for achieving your goals. This is the true power of failure, the ability to transform it from a source of pain and self-doubt into a wellspring of motivation and resilience. And the more you practice this skill, the easier it becomes to bounce back from even your most crushing defeats. Of course, turning failure into success is not just about mindset and emotional management. It also requires you to develop a set of practical strategies and tools that you can use to navigate the process more effectively. One such strategy is the lessons learned exercise, which involves systematically analyzing your failures in order to extract the key insights and takeaways. This might involve reflecting on questions like, what specific factors contributed to the failure? What did I do well, and where did I fall short? What would I do differently if I had the chance to try again? By taking the time to rigorously dissect your failures in this way, you can uncover a wealth of valuable information that you can then apply to future endeavors. Maybe you'll discover that your planning process was flawed, or that you need to work on your communication skills. Or perhaps you'll realize that you need to be more adaptable and open to changing course when things don't go as expected. Whatever the specific lessons may be, the important thing is that you document them, commit them to memory, and make a conscious effort to apply them going forward. This not only helps you avoid repeating the same mistakes, but it also gives you a framework for continuously improving and growing from your failures. Another powerful tool in the failure to success arsenal is the concept of the pivot, the ability to adapt and adjust your approach in response to changing circumstances or new information. Because let's face it, even the best laid plans can go awry, and the ability to pivot quickly and effectively can be the difference between success and failure. Think about the story of Airbnb, for example. When the company first launched, it was struggling to gain traction, with hosts struggling to attract bookings and guests feeling uncertain about the platform. But rather than giving up, the Airbnb founders recognized the need to pivot, and they did so in a big way. They realized that the key to their success lay in marketing directly to their hosts, empowering them to create more compelling, visually appealing listings. So they began offering free professional photography services to their hosts, helping them showcase their properties in the best possible light. This simple pivot transformed the Airbnb experience, driving a surge in bookings and establishing the company as a dominant player in the vacation rental market. The lesson here is that failure is often not the end of the road, but rather a signal that it's time to try a different approach. By cultivating the ability to pivot quickly and confidently, you can turn even your biggest setbacks into opportunities for growth and innovation. Of course, no discussion of turning failure into success would be complete without highlighting the power of real-life examples and case studies. Because while the principles and strategies we've explored so far are undoubtedly valuable, there's something to be said for seeing them in action through the stories of those who've been there before. One such example is the story of Colonel Harlan Sanders, the legendary founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Sanders had a long and winding road to success, marked by countless failures and rejections along the way. He bounced around from job to job, struggling to make ends meet, until he finally hit on the idea of selling his now famous fried chicken recipe. But even then, it wasn't smooth sailing. Sanders spent years traveling the country, trying to convince restaurant owners to add his chicken to their menus. And time again, he was met with rejection and dismissal. Some even went so far as to slam the door in his face. Yet, Sanders refused to give up. He persisted, undaunted by the obstacles in his path, and eventually found a willing partner in a small restaurant in Kentucky. The rest, as they say, is history. KFC went on to become a global phenomenon, and Sanders became a household name. What's remarkable about Sanders' story is not just the scale of his eventual success, but the way he used failure as a catalyst for his triumph. Each rejection, each moment of self-doubt, only fueled his determination to prove the naysayers wrong. He channeled his frustration and disappointment into honing his craft, refining his recipe, and staying true to his vision. And in the end, that unwavering commitment paid off in the most spectacular way. And Sanders' story is just one of many. From the Wright brothers' countless failed attempts at flight, to J.K. Rowling's decades-long journey to publishing success, the annals of history are filled with examples of individuals who've turned their failures into the foundation for their greatest achievements. Take the case of the Wright brothers, for instance. Orville and Wilbur Wright were a pair of bicycle mechanics who dreamed of building the world's first powered, heavier-than-air aircraft. For years, they worked tirelessly, experimenting with different designs and materials, only to be met with one failure after another. Their early attempts at flight were often marked by crashes, mechanical issues, and a general lack of control over their aircraft. But the Wright brothers refused to be discouraged. Instead, they approached each failure as an opportunity to learn, refine, and improve. They meticulously documented their experiments, analyzed what went wrong, and made the necessary adjustments. And through this process of trial and error, they gradually inched closer and closer to their goal, until finally, on that fateful day in 1903, they achieved the unthinkable. The first successful, powered, sustained flight of a heavier-than-air aircraft. The Wright brothers' story is a powerful testament to the transformative power of failure.